Discussion.
Member Benson, followed by Member Keller.
All right, thank you. And I continue to be just so encouraged that people are engaged and really want to know more about the data center process and what we're doing to write policy. And so just by way of quick governance education piece, zoning ordinances are written by our city planning commission, not by city council. By the State Enabling Act, as well as the city charter, the City Planning Commission is responsible for recommending zoning ordinance text amendments to Detroit City Council. At that point, Detroit City Council then takes those, has its own public hearing, and then approves zoning ordinance text amendments. Right now, data center policy is being written by our City Planning Commission. I strongly suggest if you have passion, are really engaged in this issue, go to the Planning Commission, go to the public hearing, call the City Planning Commission and let them know your feelings. You coming here right now is not part of the policy writing process. Make sure your voice is heard. Go to the public hearings, engage the Planning Commission. And then when that recommendation comes back to City Council, come here and make sure your voice is heard. Go to the public hearing. Coming here now is not impacting the public policy process. Go to your planning commission, which is writing policy as we speak. It's a little bit of governance 101. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Member Callaway.
This is going to be an assignment to LPD through yourself, Mr. Chair. There's been a lot of conversation about solar farms and data centers. I know where the solar farms are, but I don't know where the data centers are. And I understand we have a number of them in the city of Detroit. So through yourself, Mr. Chair, to LPD, I am asking for a report on all of the data centers located in the city of Detroit with the company name, the start date of them, the locations of them, and any other relevant information to them being located in the city of Detroit. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion on the floor, colleagues. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that action shall be taken. Member Waters.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further from colleagues? Seeing none.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I just would also, through yourself, sir, to LPD, I want to just add, and we're gonna send the memo, but I'd like to also add to you, Mr. Whitaker, and your team, the size of the data centers, as well as who owns them. Again, the size, location, etc. And we'll put that in writing. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, we do have from the Office of Contracting and Procurement, Madam Clerk.
Council President Pro Tem Young, 3 resolutions, line items 20.26 through 20.28.
Pro Tem Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve line items 20.6 through 20.26, through 20.28.
There's a motion to approve line items 20.26 through 20.
First, an amended resolution, line item 20.32.
There's a motion, line item 20.32, Member Waters.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move approval.
Discussion.
There's a motion to approve line item 20.32 as amended, Member Waters. We have discussion. First up, Member Benson, followed by Pro Tem Young.
Thank you. If we could see LPD, CPC staff, Mr. Todd, we have so much in the way of questions around the whole data center process, what's going on. Mr. Todd, can you just give us a brief update where you are with CPC? This is a very timely resolution. I want to thank my colleague for putting this together, and then all the other questions and concerns we hear at this table regarding data centers. And this body did make the request to shut down any data center movement until we can get the information and regulations in place to protect our residents. You haven't heard back from the administration on that, but we as a body, and this is our space, the legislative and regulating space. And so just wanted to hear where we are from CPC staff in that process.
Director Todd, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Good afternoon to this honorable body. Through you, Mr. President, to Councilmember Benson. We, as you know, through the attempts of your working group, have been continuing to try to draw together all of the available data from both within the city as well as the many partners that did participate in the working group that Councilmember Benson convened. We are still in the process of gathering that data and assessing it. Understandably, I think some have been maybe a little bit cautious in terms of what they were willing to share, trying to get an understanding of where it is that we are heading. Ultimately, let me say this, that this is an area that is not quite defined in the ordinance. So as we have seen that happen in the past, whether that's with medical marijuana, adult use marijuana, or other similar industries, when they have been able to come into the city without being fully defined, we need to have regulations that properly define the use, make it distinct from other similar uses, that make a distinction between that which is an accessory use and a principal use, and otherwise get our arms around it. We are at present trying to establish those definitions first and foremost, which were greatly aided by the discussions that did take place in the working group. And we are now finally beginning to get information as the administration has been trying to pull it together in terms of the location of existing facilities that either are data centers as generally defined, or could be defined as data centers, or again, could be something related that would be an accessory sort of facility, like just a data processing center within an existing business, or even a law firm where it might have such facility, or of course, even the city's own data stores that support the operations of the city of Detroit. So the key thing, first and foremost, is that which we're trying to do. And then from there, we're trying to further get definition that takes us into the realm of performance criteria that we would be looking to further define and regulate these facilities by, whether we're talking about the size of the facility, the square footage itself, the acreage that it occupies, the wattage that the facility uses. All of these things we are finding are key measures that have been utilized in other jurisdictions. Atlanta says small, medium, and large. Other cities break it down by micro, proprietary, or co-location, or hyperscale. Let me say this publicly. When we talk about hyperscale, generally speaking, everyone seems to agree the city of Detroit does not have the capacity to support, to even entertain a hyperscale facility, given that these things start anywhere from 250 acres and up. Currently, some jurisdictions define them at 500 or even 800 acres and up because of, again, quite literally the landscape of that given jurisdiction. If you're talking about Boise, Idaho, Nevada, Arizona, Wyoming, where we have large expanses of land that are available for these facilities versus our more typical rural, urban, and suburban areas that we would find here in the Midwest. From there, we are looking to, last closing statement, then looking at mitigating impacts. The water usage issue itself, as you mentioned early on in this process, Member Benson, how we might be able to look better at alternative energy utilization here with these facilities. But first and foremost, what we're trying to do is come up with a Detroit-specific solution, having the benefit of what's being done elsewhere, and again, the contributions of all of the other partners who are trying to work in this space, be they government, the utilities themselves, or developer interests.
Mr. Todd, firstly, I just want you to repeat, I may not have heard it. What did you say about hyperscale in the city of Detroit?
That hyperscale facilities, as we are seeing those particular facilities defined and really leading the debate, the discussion, the concern here around the state and elsewhere around the nation, Detroit does not have the capacity nor the desire to entertain a hyperscale facility. Again, a facility that would start minimally at 250 acres in size and go up from there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, since we have members of the media here, that they also heard that and can report that coming from CPC staff and not just from my office. In addition, when will the public engagement process start, where the community can actually come out and weigh in? Now, you hear people come to this body all the time and say, we don't want it. This is not the place at this time. Go to CPC. Public hearings will be established, dates and times. And if I'm not mistaken, there will be an additional community engagement process directly related to data centers, knowing how much of a hot topic they are right now.
Yes, again, through the chair to Member Benson. We had initially indicated that we thought we would have something ready for public consumption by the end of this month. We are still looking to do that, but we are not looking to rush this process, as it has become all the clearer to us the need to, again, take that deeper dive, to go the extra mile, not to overload the process or unnecessarily extend it, but to make sure, particularly given that information is starting to flow now, that we have received it all and properly assessed it and brought it into our process. We had to cancel last week's CPC meeting as a result of the air quality alert. That means we're going to roll over some items to our next 2 meetings before going on recess. There may or may not be room, but what we are now hoping, so this is, again, not written in stone, but whereas we had thought we might be able to broach this matter in an introductory fashion with the commission, providing them an informational presentation, expanding on what I've said here to your honorable body this morning. We thought we were going to do that at the meeting next Thursday on the 30th. We're now looking to possibly do that on August the 6th. So that would be the first opportunity where the public can see what we have been doing. It would be just an informational presentation. This would not be a formal public hearing, but from there, we would look to start informal engagement over the course of the month of August and then going into September, with the hopes that in September, probably at this point, more likely October, we would begin the formal public hearing process with the City Planning Commission. But that will be dependent upon how well the matter is received, what other issues may well come up. Again, we're wanting to first and foremost put something on the books to fill the void where it exists today in the zoning ordinance. And there is probably a longer arc that might align with our Zone Detroit effort, the overall effort to update, rethink, and refresh the zoning ordinance. But we're trying to find what we can do in the relative short term to put our arms around this issue and provide some framework, some basis for more particular and specific regulation in the near term.
Thank you very much. I just want to be very clear that it is incumbent upon us, and it's critical that we place something on the books to protect our residents. What we have right now, there is no protection against a well-financed and resourced data center developer coming into the city of Detroit and pushing their way in to an area that the community, nor city planning, nor PDD think would be optimal. So we really need to get something on the books. I'm glad that you are prioritize this public safety, because it is the job of city council, legislative body, to provide zoning protections for our residents. So thank you very much in that. I'm really hoping that our colleagues will lean in on this process as well. And I'm just glad to see that we have the staff available. Not all municipalities have this level of support from a professional planning staff, and that's been problems. And you see these in the rural areas, which have green acre sites or greenfield sites, and they just don't have the staff to provide the necessary work into or provide the labor to do the research and get this done in a timely fashion. So just really want to thank you all for what you're doing, and hope my colleagues will lean in, and resolutions of this nature really support and help us get to a point where we need to be as a city. Thank you.
Thank you. Pro Tem Young.
Thank you. And thank you so much for that. Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for that definition involving hyperscale. I just wanted to just go over a couple things just to clarify, though, just so everybody understands. So a data center, you correct me if I'm wrong. So a data center is a secure building that contains computers, servers, and networking equipment that's used to store and process and share information. It's like a warehouse. Whereas a hyperscale data center is more like an entire industrial campus built to be able to do that same purpose. And you can actually have more servers put on this land for the purpose of being able to store and process more information. Is that a good way to explain the difference between those two?
Certainly, I would concur with that through the chair to Pro Tem Young. Again, a data center could be something, as I said, as small as an entire floor of a building that is given to that process to support a given entity, all the way up to, as you indicated, a campus where you have multiple facilities on a given piece of land that are dedicated to that purpose, whether they are serving a single entity, multiple entities, and again, with the intent of ultimately serving a large volume of users.
Right, excellent. And I also wanted to just say that what's being proposed here is an AI data center. And so AI data center is basically the physical infrastructure that powers modern artificial intelligence, providing the computing, the storage, the networking, and the electricity, and the cooling provided for those AI systems to be able to operate.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about here.
Yes.
That's what's being proposed, correct? Not a hyperscale, not just going to consume massive amounts of electricity or water or energy. It will consume some, but not to the same extent as the hyperscales that we're talking about when we're talking about Google or Amazon that's being built.
Again, through the chair, this is the clarity that we are seeking to understand not only what is currently happening within the state of Michigan, within the Midwest as a whole, as a region, but also when it comes to the different users, whether it is an Oracle, whether it is a Google, an Amazon, etc. They do have different levels of facility types, and we need to understand how those types relate to the scale of regulation that we're looking at. But generally, yes, Council President Pro Tem Young, that I would concur with your characterization of it. We definitely, to the extent that Detroit can handle a larger scale facility, would like to accommodate that. But let me be clear, given the way in which Member Benson characterized it, we ultimately want to protect the city of Detroit.
Right.
We may well find in our final outcome of our research that not only can we not support a hyperscale facility, and I'll go back and put one qualification on that, but maybe again, if the co-location facility, or sometimes I think referred to as edge facility, the next layer down, we may well find that the consumption, the water usage, the electrical consumption, the noise, odor, and heat involved, that may also not be a compatible level by our estimation and others within the city of Detroit, but finding what is optimal without doing harm. And I guess, again, just to go back and make the qualification, while we're saying we do not see that Detroit could support it, as Member Benson said, if an interest were to come in and start to acquire the land and begin to amass it and force the issue, then we would be at their mercy. And that is one of the things that we are trying to prevent. We're not aware of such interest, but again, we know what has been seen in other instances across this state and elsewhere in the nation.
Thank you. And I do want to steer us back to the order of the day, and that is the resolution that we have before us. That is a resolution opposing the usage of water resources for data centers. So we can stay there because we are this close.
No, I'm wrapping up, and I appreciate that. But I just want to say the reason why those two things are connected is because you might have to use some water, but it's not the same thing as you would with a hyperscale.
Correct.
I also just wanted to say I think that we're talking about other reforms involving conserving water in terms of liquid immersion technology, in terms of closed loop technology. Also in terms of water use effectiveness, power use effectiveness, carbon use effectiveness, carbon capture technology as well that can be used in order to do that, as well as our alternative energies. I know we have a lot of hydrogen and things of that nature that we're looking at using. So I think there's ways around us being more environmentally sound in terms of holding into account in terms of green buildings as well, and those, leadership and efficiency and, design standards. So there's ways in which we can do this. I just want to make that clear. This resolution does not stop those types of reforms from taking place. She's talking specifically about water. And I think not just in terms of using water, but also in terms of aqueous data centers that have also, where you build a data center within the water. That also exists. It's more hypothetical and more emerging technology, but that does exist. We're banning that with this resolution, correct? Not the liquid immersion part.
Again, through the chair, yes. Certainly the resolution is qualified in terms of mitigation and oversight when it comes to whatever water use. So yes, we would agree. And again, Council President Pro Tem, you just illuminated all the more how heavy a lift and how complicated this subject is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. There is a motion to approve line item 20.32. Are there any objections? Hearing none, that action shall be taken.
Discussion.
With discussion, Member McCampbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Member Waters, if I can join you on this. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you can note.
Clerk will so note, Mr. President.
Discussion would be added as well, Councilmember Scott Benson.
Madam Clerk.
Clerk will so note.
Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, I see we do have a walk-on referral that is before us today. Thank you so much, Director Todd. A request from